intentionally, forward, preface, requisite, harm, ethic, bibliography, adversarial, stake, conclusion, preparedness, pacing yourself, practicing, broadening, acceptance, avoidance, collaboration, versus, cerebellums, blend, mentoring, apprenticeship, craft, craftsmanship, blind, cue the curtain, regulated, cubicle farm, competitive, suddenly, entirely, the federal government. Assessment, over and over again. A single slip, sign up, the sort of environment. Point out, promoted, endeavor. Fond of, finger pointing, blame-storming. Aversion, figure out, obstacle. Supervisor, exaggeration, kick over. Yelled. Screamed, technique, along. Ethical, a little pairing. Assembled, flip, ready to flip the switch. Folks, drop by, accurate, across borders. Advantage, agents, allegation. Anti-corruption, any form, any sort. Any temporal, assist, authorities. Breach, bribe, bribery, circumstances. Circumventing, civil, claude, coerces. Comprehensive, condemns, confiscation. Consent, consequences, contravened. Cooperation, criminal conviction. Criminal proceeding, definitions. Dismissal, duress, emergency, enforced. Enforcement, entitled, ethically. Expedited processing, expenditure. Exploited, exposure, extensive. Extortion, extradition, facilitation. Fairness, false claims can arise. Familiarize, fines, flights, forfeited. Fostering, furtherance, gaining. Genuine, global reach, guilty. Guilty, haven, honestly, hospitality. Imprisonment, improper, inadequate. Incident, indirect, instructed. Instructions, intent, intonation. Travel restriction. Kickbacks, libel, liberty. Loan, misleading, mitigate, money or property. Monitor and assess, negotiations. Obstructing, offense. Ordinary, penalty. Policy embraces. Politely, practicable, proceeds. Promotional, prompt, proportionate. Prosecute offenders. Provision. Reason, recipient. Reciprocal agreements. Relevant, remedial, remind, restraining. Reveal information, reveal. Robust. Self-reporting, seriously undermine. Solicit, substantiated, suspected. Suspected, themselves, threatening. To engage, tolerate, tracing, trade. Undertake, upheld. We engage will not commit act. Whether, wider, witness. Under no circumstances. Wave, weak, webinar, whale. Whatever kind of. Whatever, whereas, whether wired or wireless. Whilst, wide awake, wield. Will keep you posted. Willing, wind, wise, work around. Worth, wrist, vacancy, valuable. Vanity or greed, variety, various. Velocity, verbal, verbose, versatile. Vessel, vigilant, violate, violation. violent, voluntary, volunteer. Ubiquity, unauthorized, undermining. Unsolicited, unusual, unwary, upset. Urgency, utilize, strategy, tackle. Taking into account, temple, termination. That up to you, the board of directors. The tenure, theft, thereby, thick, thorough, threats, thunder, tied to. Tins, to appreciate, to form unified. To gain, to give up, to rid, to triage. Tough, tournament, toward, towards. Transfers of funds, trivial, truncation. Turkey, tweaks, sabotage, safeguard the discretion. Sanitized, scenarios, screw, seamless. Seek, semicolons, sense, should take into account. Shrank, shredded, significant additions. Significant, sleet, slightly behind schedule. Slightly, smog, sneeze, snippet. So far, so forth, so that, so what. Solids, some indicators, spawn. Specialty, species, specific, spinach. Spontaneous combustion, spread. Squid, statutory, stay away from STHSB. Steam, stiff, stool, strange. Strategy, strength, strike, strive. Stuffy, sufficient, suitably, susceptible. Suspect, suspended, suspicious. Sustaining, sweater, syllabus. Symptoms, rack, rapturous, ratio. Reached, realistic, recipient. Recreation, recruit, requirement. Recurring, redundant, refine, reflect. Refrain, regarded, regarding, regardless. Regulatory, relevant, relied on. Replicate, rescue, resident, resilience. Respective, retained, retains. Revise, rid, rodent, roughly, rower. Qualified, qualitative, quantitative. Participating, particles, patents. Peach, period, periodically, permanent. Permit, permutation, permutations. Person, people, personnel, perspective. Passion, fishing, pill and cut. Pills, pirated, plate. Please be kindly informed that. Pleasure and privilege, pods, pondering. Postpone, potentia, practical example. Pragmatism, precise, precisely. Precision, predecessor, predicate. Premises, presence or absence. Preservation, pretty stupid, pretty. Pride, principles, prior, prioritize. Privacy, probation, procedures. Profit, progression, prohibited. Promptly, prone, proper, proposed. Proprietary, proverb, provision. Psychology, pumpkin, punish, purely. Obligation, obscure, obsolete. Obstacle, obviously, occupation. Octopus, odd number, omitted, omitted. Onward, opportunity, outcome, overall. Overheads, natural, phenomena. Negotiate, nightmare, non-disclosure. Notably, nurtures, make sense. Malicious, mammal, many folks. Marshmallows, mass distribution. Mastering, mathematician. Mathematics. Matters, medals, mentor, merchant, mess, misleading, misuse, money laundering, monolithic, more frequently, motion, motivating, moving on, mustache, mutable, mutually agreed, mutually, labor, lack of, lapse in physical security, leafy, lecture, lecturer, legal, legitimate source, let's assume, lettuce, leverage, liabilities, likelihood, literature, litter, little overhead, loaf, long ago, luggage, javelin, just leave it as it, judgment, jacket, immediately, immutable, impediments, imperative, impose, in addition, in order to obtain, inaccessible, inadequate, inconsequential, incredible, incredibly, indeed, index, indices, indicates, individual, induction, infected, influence, infringe, ingredient, initiating, innovation, insight, inspect, inspire, integrity, intellectual property, intellectual, intended, interactive, interception, interferes, intermediate, intitist, intervene, intrinsically, investment, involved, involves, isolate, hail, how to cope, hurdles, choir, whole, hairy, gain, gases, gather, glance, gossip, grape, grass, grazing, greatly increased, ground level, guidance, facilitate, facility, failure, faith, falsification, familiar, fear, Finland, Finnish, flower, fluent, fluffy, fluids, forcibly, forgive, fork, formally, fraud, fraudulent, frustrated, fuel, furthermore, efficient, electronic cash balances, elegant, eligible, eliminate, embraces, emit, employ, employee, employer, employment, encapsulate, encounter, encourage, energetic, engineering, enhanced, enhancement, enthusiastic, entice, equipment, equivalent, escort, essential, essentially, even if, even number, even though, eventually, evil, evolve, evolved, examined, exceeds, except, excursion, executive, exemption, exhibits, expect, exploit, explosion, enormous, datum, data, dawn sunset, deceiving, decent, dedication, deemed, definitely, deliberate, demands a ransom, demonstrate, denial, denotes, departed, deposits, derivatives, derived, derived, desire, detest, deviates, due, diagnoses, diagnosis, diagnostic, diary, dig, digests, disaster, disciplinary, disclosure, discouraged, disengaged, disguised, disgusting, disinformation, dispose, disruption, distinct, distinguish, dominating, don't mean to, don't stay up late, drafts, drawbacks benefit, due to, dust, duties, cage, candidates, capacity for sustaining, capacity, cascaded, cash, catch-up, cereals, certain, chain, challenge, characteristic, chase it up, circumstance, claims, clarification, clinic, colleague. Comes to the RICU, comfort, commencement. Committee, compact, compete, competency. Complement, compliance, compliance. Compliant, comply, composite, compromise. Compromise, concrete, conduct. Conduit, confidentiality, conform to the terms. Confused, conjunction, consist. Consistency, consistent, consonants. Constituent, consult, consultants. Contest, contract, contractors. Convenience, conveys, copyright. Corn, corresponding, corrupt, cranberry. Credible, criminal, crisis, criteria. Criterion, criteria. Critical services. Critically, cryptolocker, cucumber. Cumbersome, curious, custodian. Unconscious, Celsius.Fahrenheit. Coat, bait, baiting, balances. Barely, bark, be aware of, be retained. Beard, beef, behalf, bell pepper. Barriers, beyond, biometrics, bitter. Blanket, bloom, bows, brand and reputation. Breeches, briefly, broad, broccoli. Budget, burden, burnout, cactus. Cacti, peppermint, a collision. A power supply, abandon, abbreviated. Abnormal, abroad, abstain or grant access. Abstracts, acceleration, accidentally. Accommodate, accommodation, accomplish. Accomplish, accordance, accountable. Accuracy, acquire, adapt, adapts. Add subtract, adhere, adjust, adventure. Advisor, affair, agency worker. Aggregated, aggregations, aggressive peaceful. Agreement, aim, allergic, almost. Although, amendment, amendment. Amplify, an oil tanker, angel. Angle, ankle, annex, annotations. Annual, anomalies, anticipate. Any doubt, apart, applause, applicable. Appreciate, appropriate, arbitrary. Arguably, arm, arrangement, articulates. As a result, as long as such. As well as, asset, assets. Assume, attend, attitudes. Authenticity, uninterruptible power supply.